in the last minute. You say,
There
sure,
we
okay,
go.
fine.
Now then, they will see us.
What is going on, everyone? As you see, we got Shane Oakley, like always, and we got our special guest
Oh crap!
for British Eyes Only, Mr. Ryan.
What is
Um,
up? What is up?
so first off, we're gonna go through our buffet. So uh, while Ryan gets everything ready, Shane, what you vaping on today, man?
Let me just have a second to get my chat where I need it so I can actually see it. There we go.
And while we're waiting, if you want to use code WW15 for 15% off at Vapors One, that's VAPORS1. You can use that till the end of the month. So you got a few more
Yep.
days. Make sure you go pick up some stuff. 15% off.
2 days.
Go
Yep, 2 days. So I'm still got my Unity on the Shogun in there, and I'm heartbroken. IVC Parade Maker. They
broken too.
they are at an impasse, and they have officially had to shut their doors, and that's something that's just heartbreaking to me. They're such a great company. They've been so good to many of the people in the Discord. Dan, super guy. I hate that that's happening, uh, but there's nothing we haven't done to try to prevent it. We've done everything, and even the owner, I think his name's Ryan also, but he is a
Good name.
super nice guy, and I hate to see that happen especially that company. There's some companies out there that I don't know, good or bad. I don't want to see anybody lose their job, but I got the dead goat on the Dreamer with constant contact black button in there. My man Eric, vinyl and vapor, psycho cruller, caramel donut goodness. Got the Overlord with the drop dead
There we go.
in there as always. Shamrock cookie.
So
And
good.
yes, my newbie, the tenacious unicorn. Got the green constant contact button with the green ardent top. And I just got the regular clear tip from the ardent on there. I definitely don't have anything to match that green. In there,
That's
got
such a
the Cloud Nerds, strawberry lemon. And then Big Lunch, the Asgard on the Keen. And in there, got some Manga Bees by 12 Monkeys. That juice is phenomenal if you haven't tried it yet. And then I
Yeah,
have my Caliburn and my Frenzy. And I have been salt free for over a week now, thanks to Paradigm Distro.
valuable.
12 milligram 50/50 of Wicked Berry in both of those, and absolutely loving it. So happy I could get rid of the final salt nick. So I
nice.
finally found something that I actually like better than that. So, but Ryan, if you're ready, if not, Jay can go.
Let's let Jay go.
Oh, okay.
All right. So first, let's see. I got the NATO with the Barrage on top from Thesis and Asmodus. Badass single coil RDA. I'm not just saying that because Thesis is my boy, but this is a badass single coil. It's probably my favorite right now. I've been using this every single day. And inside that, I got some of this Noms times two, the Cactus Jackfruit Mandarin. I'm a huge jackfruit guy, and cactus. Whoa,
Nice.
huge cactus and jackfruit guy. This is really good. My fiance almost stole this bottle from me, so I kind of hide that one. And everyone I let try, they're like, "Dude, the thing's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, it's mine. Back up." Next, I got the Shogun on the Squevo right here, and inside that, I got some of this transistor Nazo,
Nazo.
and it is amazing. Next, I got some more new news. I got the Ohana on top of the Red Dreamer with the DHD Inferno tip. This is a clear cap for the Ohana. And inside that, I got some of this whipped peanut butter Yeah, whipped peanut butter pie. This I picked up from IVC. I don't believe. Yeah, this is theirs. It's sad to say that I won't be able to pick up something like that again for a while if they do come back. But it is really sad to say that I might not be able to get any more of that because it's really good. Next, I got the the pink unicorn, tenacious unicorn, constant contact with the pink ardent cap with a sparkle maple chop from PhD. Inside that, I got some lemon berry from Transistor. Some really good
That stuff's
stuff as
so
well.
good.
Mm-hmm. And see, I gotta match my setups, man, or somewhat. Try to. And then I got not big lunch, but I got big supper. And I got the Asgard 30 on top of the Keen. I'm gonna paint that button purple eventually, so that way it matches. Just the drip tip that comes with it, and inside that I got some Tango Melon because, as Swag says, just because Tango Melon, and it reminds me of Houston. So that's all I got. So what you vaping on today, Ryan?
So many things. All right, so what I was vaping on was the Hadley from Cyclone Mods. I'm sure you guys remember this single coil from 2016, 17. Then I got that barrage, man. I got that barrage from Thesis. I got number 2.
Nice. I think mine's 56.
And I'm pretty sure Grim Green hasn't gotten his yet, so I feel sort of bad about it, but also not really. On top of the topside single 21700, it's like a 0.3 ohm, running it at around 45 watts, and it's fantastic. I put that build up. It's a frame staple. And I'm rocking one of my all-time favorite liquids that hopefully won't be unavailable soon in New Jersey is Outer Limits. It is a raspberry Greek yogurt.
Ooh,
I vape over 3 liters of that juice. It's an 80-20. It has no sweetener in it except for whatever's in the flavor concentrates. And it's just one of the cleanest juices, one of my favorite juices. I got this Brewed Awakening. It's a coffee flavor. It just says classic. It's made by Caribbean Cloud Company, if you can see that. Got that in the Recoil Rebel, on the Vindicator 21700.
Nice.
I was actually rocking this on my detonator for a while. That's right. That's a Kanger Sub-Tank Mini with the rebuildable deck, which is the first thing I ever put fuel for. It's terrible, but it's not good, but it's not bad. That's the only way I can put it. Then I've got Seroma stuff all over the place. I got the Gathering Vapor. Mark and Amy Clow, I don't know. Got the, look at that, 4.2 exactly. Dual parallel 21700, unregulated with a MOSFET. The Warlock's Hammer, which I am about, where did I even put that? There it is. I'm about to put that Fatality M25 on top of PP Designs.
Nice.
Which is full of Peanut Butter Party.
Woohoo!
It's really, really good. I don't think I've ever bought a juice before and got a 0 and a 6, having never tried it at all. I tried it on my knuckle. I went, shit, Eric makes this. I've tried Cycle Crawler. I've tried Dragon Shake. I'll just get it. Fine. And it's been fantastic. It's about a 0.15 on here.
Yeah, I tried all 3 of his juices without tasting any of them.
They're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. Oh my God. And Eric is just a fantastic human being. If I could choose someone to be my big brother, it would probably be him. Let's see. What else do I have going here? I have Caliburn. I cut the airflow off with an M-Turk sticker.
There you go.
Can't tell what it is. And I have I have two juices I mixed together in here. I have Halo Tribeca, which I'm sure everyone knows, and Innovate TNT, the next tobacco. Both in a 12 milligram, 70-30, and a 50-50, so it comes out to like a 60-40, and it's been fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I got the pod upgrade kit for the Orion DNA Go for the Plus. So far, I just kind of wish the wicking ports on the coil heads were bigger, because it seems like I can get dry hits a lot easier. And I was using the 1 ohm coils from the Orion Q and messed around with yeast fry to make it work, but the flavor is better. Absolutely is better. I still think the Caliburn's better than that, but that's kind of what I've been vaping.
Nice. All right. So as you saw, we all love flavors, and yeah, we all want to fight for our flavors. So if everyone looks down at the ticker, we do have most of the states on there that are going through flavor bans. I think we might need to add some new ones.
Yeah.
We can take off San Antonio. That was just a statement. It wasn't like they're going to actually do one, but it's still good to call.
Yeah.
But I hope everyone's been making their calls. I know that's what my lunch consists of. There's, I mean, y'all might see me tweet it. Y'all might see me put it on Instagram, but my lunch consists of that. And if I do decide to eat during lunch, whenever I am doing this, it's usually as soon as I put something in my mouth to take a bite down on, I get, hello, how are you? I'm like, oh, crap. So I got to hurry up and chew it real quick. And, oh, excuse me 1 second. But, I mean, I've been trying to do my part. I hope everyone's been doing their part. I know everyone wants to see this not happen. I know everyone wants to see this get reversed. And we don't want to see this spread anymore to any of the southern states or go out to the west or anything like that, like it already has been. So let's just keep fighting for it. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Make sure you join call those people. Join CASAW. Join any advocacy organization you can think of. If there's a way to join them, if there's a way for you to donate and you have extra money, go ahead and do it. But just try to help out as much as you can. And we want to talk to Ryan, Mr. for British Eyes Only. We want to talk to him about what he's been doing to help out, and mainly how the flavor ban hearings have been, because he's been to 2 of them already. So this is going to be something really cool. I wanted to get some people on for this just because I want everyone to know, just in case they go to their state and it comes over there and they say, okay, now we have a hearing. I want someone to be able to say, okay, yeah, I've heard what's been going on. I kind of know what to expect. So, Ryan, I mean, if you want to talk about that a little bit, that'd be great.
Hey, just hold on just a second. Let me share this real quick.
Yeah.
I actually got a email back from one of my legislators.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very encouraging. Let me just read you a little bit of it. He said, thank you for contacting me about restricting e-cigarette and nicotine vapor products. And he said, like you, I respect the choice of adults to consume tobacco and recognize e-cigarettes potential as a safer alternative to smoking. And he said that we should invest in finding innovative solutions to prevent new smoking and help individuals who already smoke to quit. And he says the recent outbreak of lung injuries associated with e-cigarettes has highlighted the potential dangers. But he said they have been linked to hundreds of illnesses, which, vaping, the verb, has. And he said there is a few in Alabama. I have particular concerns about youth vaping, which has surged in recent years. And he said, I do not support the over-regulation of nicotine products, but significant changes must be made to ensure that vaping products on the market do not target youth. It is critical that such policies do not cause undue and unintended economic consequences for small business and adult e-cigarette users who rely on these products. So in that, it tells me that he is actually looking into the alternate solutions other than a ban, which is very encouraging for us, instead of someone just taking it at face value as a legislator and say, okay, everybody else on my team is voting this way, I'm just going to go with them. He's actually might be taking the time. He might just be blowing smoke up my butt. I don't know. But, it comes across that, he is actually taking the time to look into alternative solutions, which is very encouraging for us as vapors, for us as activists and advocates, to actually get a little bit of good news every once in a while. And that's the reason I wanted to share that with you guys, so you would have at least a little bit of an uptick. There's been a lot out there that's been very dark and very down and depressing. So any kind of good news that you get, that anybody gets, please share it and say, "Hey, I have some good news here. Let's spread a lot of good news along with everything that we have to get done."
Oh yeah, yeah. And you actually forwarded me that one, and I read it too, and I read it the same way. Me and you, we kind of talked, or we kind of communicated back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
saying, yeah, we kind of read that the same way. And I mean, honestly, I did, because he's not really sitting there saying, yeah, well, we're going to sit there and we're going to do an all out ban. He's saying, well, we really need to sit back and we need to actually take a look at this before we go out and do something. And
Yep.
that's really cool that he wants to actually say, okay, yes, we do need to regulate it, but we don't need to overregulate it. I
Right.
think that's awesome. I
Yeah.
think that's really cool and really good that someone actually, well, this isn't the first politician to say something like this, but I think this is cool that we actually have more politicians on our side now than just going straight after it and saying, so what?
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that we're having some politicians actually agree
So
and
what?
everything.
Yeah. So
So,
what?
Yeah.
so what?
So sorry, Ryan. You can go ahead.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, I always like to hear news like that, especially when it's positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Positive news is always good, especially with everything going on.
Well, I think that the New York hearing was a little pointless, honestly. By the time I got there, I already felt like everyone had made their minds up, and even the reporters coming to interview people were asking such ludicrous questions like, well, why do you market to kids? Why does your industry want kids to vape? Why do you make flavors that children will like but adults won't? And are you at all concerned that vaping is killing people? And it's misinformation at the end of the day, but it is starting finally to come out. And I know everyone, at least in the vaping community, who is an advocate or an enthusiast, basically do know. And even just regular people who I've talked to, smokers who I've talked to, have said, well, no, I know it's really just THC cartridges people have bought on the black market. And I said, why, why don't why don't politicians know this? Why don't people go out of their way to make sure that the actual truth is out there for their voters and citizens to hear? But the New York hearing, I was glad to go. New York City is kind of the worst. I drove there, parked, spent a whole bunch of money just to stay there for a few hours, but it was good to, you know, everyone needs to support each other during this, because it's one of those things that, hey, as much as we want to complain and say this isn't fair or everyone's wrong and we're right, it's going to take a whole lot of convincing. And now we've just been set back further by people who really think that vaping is as dangerous or worse for you than smoking, which is insane to me. Now, the New Jersey hearing, it definitely seemed a little bit more civil. By the time I got there were already at least 100 people there. We waited from maybe 2:30 to 4 o'clock until we were all allowed to go inside and start filing in. And I don't think that the vaping task force that New Jersey appointed was really ready for the sheer amount of people that came to show up and speak their mind about the issue. They had set aside 3 hours from 4 to 7, unless my math is incorrect, which it might be. They set aside that time for people to come in and speak. They had a panel of, I believe, 9 people from other various departments from New Jersey. It was held at Trenton and the New Jersey Department of Health and Agriculture. And for the most part, they just listened. They took notes. It wasn't like the New York hearing where people were playing games on their phones and not paying attention, falling asleep. So it did give me a little bit more of hope. It really did. It really did make me feel like, well, you know what? We might be able to make a change here if the right people speak and the right things are said and the right people hear these things, because it didn't seem like they had their minds made up so much as they wanted to know what's going on, because you can't expect everyone to know the difference between a pod system and an open vapor product and a rebuildable and a refillable pod. And it's a complicated industry. So the fact that they were willing to sit down and listen and take into account the amount of people who were going to either lose their jobs or their businesses or all their employees and the amount of tax dollars that would be squandered because of this, it did seem like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. So that was definitely a good thing. I did get to speak at around 7, and they stayed for at least another hour overtime because I'm sure they're getting paid for it. But they did stay. A few of the individuals left, but most of the panel did remain there to hear more people come up and speak, whether it be manufacturers or retailers, distributors, or just simple consumers or advocates like myself, where they had to come up and say, listen, I've been smoking for 45 years. I've tried Chantix, I've tried Nicorette, I've tried hypnosis, therapy, and nothing has worked for me except for cotton candy flavored e-liquid.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the problem. The problem is children getting a hold of THC cartridges cut with vitamin E acetate, and you can go to Public Health England, the Royal College of Physicians, even the CDC and the FDA have put out similar statements. They didn't really broadcast the findings as much, but they did admit that that seems to be the problem, while at the same time saying, well, we're not sure that's 100% the problem. We can't pin it all on one thing because some of these people were also using nicotine vapor products, but it's really a cop-out. You know that one thing is a common issue for each and every person who was sick, but because, well, what if they all ate peanut butter sandwiches? Are you going to blame it on that? No. It's pretty much common sense. If you light dried tobacco leaves rolled in paper with a cotton filter on fire and inhale the smoke, it is not going to be more harmful than water vapor with flavoring and nicotine in it. Nicotine is not what causes the issues. Nicotine is not carcinogen. And I think by the end of that 3 to 4 hours, they did start to understand, and most people made a really good point that, listen, regulation is already in place. If children are getting a hold of this, which they will, just like they get a hold of drugs and alcohol, just like they get into underage driving accidents, just like 4,000 people die a year in alcohol-related deaths.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, the state, the government, need to regulate this. You need to do a better job because we're doing all that we can. And to force adults to go back to a tobacco flavor is like telling an alcoholic who's in recovery to drink beer-flavored water. And I think that was one of the most impactful statements that I heard.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's just a common sense thing. Like, you're going to ban an entire industry based on what, less than 1% of the population who actually vape? Meanwhile, no one wants to touch on the fact that youth smoking rates are the lowest they've ever been in history. That's not an issue. That no one even cares about that. Kids are vaping, children are dying. It's THC cartridges that are tainted, coming from drug dealers. 85 to 90% of the people who have been hospitalized who would have admitted to buying these things on the black market from drug dealers, not from a reputable shop, not from a dispensary, not from a licensed retailer. That is the problem. People have been arrested for it, and that's what the government needs to be focusing on. You can't tell 12, 13 million vapors. Well, you've had hundreds of flavors that you may or may not have liked. Now you've got one, and that's fine. You should be able to quit with just tobacco flavor. That's perfectly fine for you. Maybe menthol, we're not sure. I think it did finally start to sink in, but for lack of a better term, most of the people on the panel just weren't hip. They weren't young. They didn't know a lot about the industry itself. And how are you going to appoint people like that to regulate an industry when they have no knowledge in the subject? It doesn't make sense to me. But hopefully, they took some notes, and if anything, they want to oppose other states or oppose Trump and support the opposition and support anything that Trump is for. They want to be on the opposite side of it. You don't like vapor products? Well, you know what? Just because you don't, we do. If that's what saves this industry, that's what saves this industry. And if it comes down to that, it is what it is. But this is even starting to affect other countries.
Mm-hmm.
This is starting to affect Canada. This is starting to affect the UK. People are coming into shops. People are calling shops asking, am I going to die from vaping this strawberry milky liquid? No, you're not. Well, I heard this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into a thing where you sound like you've got a tinfoil hat on for telling people, well, you can't believe everything you hear on the news. But you can.
Yeah.
You literally can't. And it's even gone as far now in the U.S. to people that are in the gun laws and people who are, really upset about all the regulations on firearms, which is covered in the Constitution, are going out and just buying vapor products because the U.S. government doesn't want them to have them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I've seen that. And they're actually fighting with us, which is really cool.
Exactly. Because they're like, hey, welcome to welcome to the battle, guys.
Yep.
Have fun. We're on your side. Let's do it.
So are you a conspiracy theorist by any chance? Because I saw you wink. I saw you wink. I mean, what was the wink about? The wink.
That one used to be fired or voted out of office, whatever. I don't know what position she holds, but the fact that she was so just disrespectful to the woman who came up and poured her heart out was ridiculous to me. Who are you? What right do you have to talk to another human being like that?
Well, I was watching that live, and my fiance, she's in the chat right now. You can ask her. I went to lunch and met her at lunch. I was listening to this, and I was just like, I had my headphones in. I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" And she's like, "What? What'd I do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm listening to this BS right now." And then she was like, "What'd she just say?" I was like, "She just asked this lady if she's a conspiracy theorist just because she believes in vaping." And she was like, "Are you serious?" My fiance doesn't vape either. She every now and then she'll take mine and take a hit or two, but that's it. But yeah, I mean, and then the thing that really, really surprises me with that lady saying anything, and that lady in particular, is she had so much shit going against her whenever she came into office about racism and her beliefs and everything. And then she wants to say, well, I respect any of your beliefs and anything you say, but are you conspiracy theorists? Because you're lying to us right now. And I wish you could tell the truth. I'm like, wait, what? You're the lady who fought all these people for yelling at you and standing outside your office telling you to go back home. And I mean, I'm not a racist at all, but I mean, someone does that to you, that's pretty effed up. I'm going to say it's pretty fucked up. And then she wants to pretty much call someone a conspiracy theorist and tell everyone that she's lying whenever you went through crap like this, now I know it's not from like, okay, your beliefs on vaping, but your religious beliefs and everything. And then you want to call someone out on their beliefs and say, I respect your beliefs, but you're BSing us pretty much. I thought that was completely stupid on her part. And I mean, I know nothing's going to happen to her. They're just going to, whatever. But I mean, the only hearing that I've heard, like you also said too, the last hearing that I've heard that actually went decent was New York. The LA one, I watched that one. It didn't go that well. The one we just talked about, that one didn't go that well. Like the lady who vaped, the only time that they asked her questions was only a couple people. Everyone else, they would ask everyone questions. I think there's like 6 people up there. They would get 5 people done, and they would have a minute and a half left. So they're like, okay, for my 5 minutes, the last minute and a half, I'm just going to tell a story. Let me just go ahead and tell a story about how whenever I was younger, they used to say, do you want smoking or non-smoking section? Instead of asking lady the same question because they didn't want to hear what she had to say. I thought that was total BS too. I thought that was complete BS, and I was like, I don't understand how this is happening. There should be a law in effect where if you have people that you're asking questions, you have to ask all of them the same question. And then they want to put her with someone who supposedly their daughter was in the hospital because she was vaping, and she said, no, it was just nicotine. And they asked her again, and well, yeah, she did experiment with some THC.
Mm-hmm.
Bing,
But
bing,
that's
bing, bing,
probably
bing.
not the problem.
Yeah, I'm like, oh well, no shit. Yeah, I mean, whenever she was saying nicotine, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. This lady's just crazy. And then once she said THC, I'm like, there it is. We found it.
Yep.
But Brian, I really want to thank you for going to those. I tried to make it out to the New Jersey one. I didn't get it. Couldn't find a flight cheap enough to make it out there. I'm all the way in Texas, but I wanted to go out there and help as much as possible. I think it's really awesome you driving down there to the New York one, to the New Jersey one. And I mean,
they were both
showing up.
So close, I couldn't not go. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
For you to try and take a flight there, they made it an inconvenient time.
Oh yeah.
Purpose. Starting at 4 p.m., starting at 3 p.m., like
on a Tuesday.
Everyone's in work.
Yeah.
You kidding? Come on. I mean, I'm not thankful that I work at UPS from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. But it does afford me the opportunity to go do stuff during the day. So when I'm not taking a nap, I had, you know what? Someone said, hey, well, do you want to go? And I'm like, I'm going. I asked at least like a dozen people to come with me, and no one really wanted to go. And that's fine. They're all basically saying to me, well, we'll find a way. We're still going to vape, or we'll just, smoke cigarettes. It doesn't really matter. I'm like, it doesn't really matter? This isn't just a vaping issue. Like, well, what if they decide that video games are way, way too violent and they're just going to ban them now? They're just going to ban them because, school shootings and video games are obviously connected. So no more Call of Duty, no more Modern Warfare, no more Halo, no more anything.
Yeah.
I bet you those kids would be a little bit more inclined to go to things like this now. But until then, they're like, well, we'll be able to get it. We'll figure it out. Yeah, there's going to be a huge black market. There's still going to be a way to get stuff. But for the people who haven't quit yet, or the people who are, for lack of a better term, experimenting with vaping, trying to quit, or dual users, they're not going to make their own e-liquid. They're not going to join forums online to try and figure out how to do it or buy it from people who do. And the people who are manufacturers in states where it's been outlawed probably aren't going to risk going to jail to keep their business going.
Yep.
I know Grim Green had to shut down Namber Juice, and if you've seen the video of him talking about it, he's basically in tears.
Yep.
The company for like 7 years. His liquid is fantastic, and it's based out of Michigan. So surprise, Governor Whitmer, the totalitarian dictator, has decided no more. I call my kids vaping. This is bad. We don't like vaping. Vaping is bad. People think it's wonderful. It's really not. So no more of that in Michigan, period. And the only thing that really worries me about New Jersey is that I heard that Rhode Island, their governor met with Governor Cuomo from New York, and I think New Jersey is next, or they've already met. And I just assume that meeting is going to be, well, hey guys, here's how I did it. Here's how I executed an executive order and just completely went past all the laws that are in place and just did what I wanted to. Here's the best way to do it. Here's how you can do it too. And by the way, guys, we won't default on our MSA money bonds. So win-win for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because fuck smokers, because fuck vapors, and because fuck citizens. We don't care about public health. We just need that money because we decided to spend 99% of it on things completely unrelated to the stipulations stated in the MSA agreement.
Yeah.
Perfect. Fantastic.
And that was like I tweeted yesterday, we're doing this for the children, or for the children really means we're doing this for MSA money that we want to keep, but we're not going to use it properly. Because, if I heard right, MSA money is supposed to be used for public health.
Exactly.
And I believe Danielle Jones was talking about it, how she said that it's not being used for public health. And vaping to me seems like something public health, but you're going to ban it because you're not making money, because you're not doing public health. And if you're really caring about the kids, use that damn MSA money for the correct things. And I know that people use it for other things. We use it for a lot of different things. It's cool. It's whatever. Use your money for what you need to use it for. But then whenever you run dry from your money because you blew it all, that's like saying, hey, I just got my income tax in. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go party and yada, yada. I'm going to go do this and that. And then, oh, crap, I really should have bought a new car with that money. Yeah, you know what? I ain't got money for that now. Oh, well. You're being completely irresponsible. And then you're going to ban something that is 95% safer and healthier alternative for you. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, I think I don't understand what these people are thinking. And like you said, Ryan, it felt like sometimes that, or in most of these flavor ban hearings, they had their mind made up. To me, everyone I've watched, they had their mind made, especially New York. New York didn't give a damn. Mm-hmm. They had their mind made up. So what? So what about vaping?
His family are political gangsters.
Oh yeah.
From all the things I've seen with him and his brother Chris on CNN, I think it's CNN, right?
Yeah.
They're such assholes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just for everyone who doesn't know, Governor Cuomo of New York, his wife left him this week. So my prayers do not go out to you, sir. It's unfortunate, but you get what you get, and you don't get upset.
Yep.
Karma's a bitch.
I actually tweeted #relationship goals. So what?
So what?
But there was a video actually about his brother. It's probably way.
Oh, the Fredo thing?
Yeah. They said his name wrong and he tried to kick some guy's ass. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. He was threatening to throw him down a flight of stairs.
Dang.
He said that calling an Italian Fredo is similar to calling a black person the N-word, which it's not. Not at all.
No.
Huge difference.
Mm-hmm. And I got something from Just Peachy I want to bring up that Ryan, you kind of brought up about how there's the 5,000 deaths annually from driving. And I believe that's from ages 12 to 21 or 12 to 20 because 11% of alcohol.
Alone.
Yeah, and that's 11% of alcohol consumed in the U.S. is by ages 12 to 20, which is underage. As a result, in around 5,000 deaths annually. Just Peachy tweeted that, and she also has a video next to it where there's candy. In the basket right next to it, going down the aisle, is little shots of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the ones doing this for kids. But the thing is I understand. They can't find a way to tax us yet. Once they find a reasonable tax, all this will probably pass. But why ban something?
New Jersey's had a tax implemented. It was 10 cents per milliliter. Now it's like a standard tax per bottle size, which is a little more reasonable, but so many companies lost a lot of business because people were like oh, so now I'm gonna buy a 100 ml bottle for $20. Now it's $30.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy it.
Yeah,
Never mind.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then they had the floor tax on top of that, where everything in your
Exactly.
store you had to pay for up front.
I remember going. There's a shop I really like called Vaping Me Crazy, and it's in New Hope, Pennsylvania. New Hope is like a teeny little crazy town with all these fun shops and stuff. And Pennsylvania implemented a 40% wholesale tax. But because I like that shop and I want them to stay in business, I went all the way down there because they were one of the first places to get the orchid. And of course, I got the orchid and got one of the pods that tasted like plastic, but there's nothing to do with them. That's orchid and their quality control. It was whatever the price was plus 40%, and I was like, God damn, this is so expensive. But I'm already here. I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna go home and then buy it online. Like, I'd rather support Tal. I'd rather support the shop.
Mhm.
They have all the newest stuff when they come out. They have, they're on top of things. They have the newest products. And I was working at a shop for a while. I won't mention the name of just because I'll just go into a rant. But the owner would basically wait for other places to get it, see how it sold there, and then order the stuff. And I went, you need to order things as they come out,
Mm-hmm.
based on reviews, based on, what people like I have to say, because the owner doesn't vape. And I've never seen him even try a liquid or a tank or anything. So you're just doing it based on sales of other shops, but people come in and we finally get it and they already have it because they bought it somewhere else because it's
Mhm.
been out for 2 months. So
Yeah.
I don't understand how he stays in business. It is what it is. I'm no longer there. I was going to quit. And he fired me before that and did me a favor. And I literally told him, great, fantastic. I'm so happy. Now, do I miss that little bit of income? Yeah, sure. But is it worth the stress of dealing with customers asking me, well, when are you going to get this? When are you going to get that? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? No, because there's nothing I could do about it. The owner wouldn't listen to me, didn't want any of my recommendations, and went as far as to order stuff from China from not Demand Vape. I always say that. Demand Vape's an actual reputable company from somewhere like, I don't know, one of the Chinese companies you can order from where everything comes out. That's the first place you can get it, like Gear Best and shit like that.
Yeah.
And, got 15 boxes of clone Stigs, and I laughed so hard because I told him, don't order from there, please, please, please. Just look up reviews for the website. Something's gonna go wrong. I promise you. I promise you. And he said, well, it's so much cheaper. Like, all right, man, stop my business. Go for it.
Wow.
And they offered him $20 store credit for 15 boxes of 10 packs of 3 of Stigs that were fake. And guess what? He still has them.
Man.
But what do I know? What do I know? You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And that same guy, I asked him, I sent him a message. I sent one of the other employees, one of the other part owners a message and said, hey, there's a hearing in New Jersey and Trenton tomorrow, the next day. I forget when I sent it to him, and said, I know you have 2 stores in New Jersey, 1 in New York, and this directly affects you. I hope you already know about the flavor ban in New York. I don't know what your plans are, but considering you already don't charge the nicotine tax in New Jersey, which is illegal, and I don't know how you do it, you should probably go to this hearing. Most shops are closing and bringing all their employees there just to fill the room. And he said, I'll see if I can get coverage. And none of them showed up. But that's what you get when you're in it for the money and not in it to help people. And I think that's what, like, most places are in it to help people. Most places will risk getting in trouble or risk, selling things at a loss to make their customers happy.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole industry is customer based. It's all grassroots. It's all started from the bottom. It's not a huge corporation unless Juul is included in that, but so many people have literally helped themselves quit smoking, help themselves get off cigarettes, and most people I know are really into helping others just because they said, "Oh my God, this works for me so well. You should try it too. Here's how you do it. I'll answer any of your questions." And they don't benefit at all from it. It's just camaraderie. And like a couple of my friends were like, "Well, whatever, we can DIY." And I go, "Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. But think about how many people you've met through vaping. Like, there weren't smoking meets, there weren't like cigarette conventions. You know what I mean? Going to meets and stuff like that, and going to conventions and expos. I've met so many people that are like you guys, like people that are my friends now that I'm concerned about.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like Nick, Grim Green, Twisted Messes, Daily Vape TV. I can go on and on. Ruby Roo, Josh. Like so many companies are even based in California where these things are just going to snowball from like county to county to state, and then just it's unbelievable that the amount of revenue that they're losing in taxes. I can't understand how that is going to be, like fiscally sound. Where aren't you losing more money in taxes than you're be gaining on people smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
But I guess you can't apply that money to MSA bonds, can you?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. I
And
think
I,
that.
I actually have a buddy who I messaged the other day and said, "Hey, dude, I'm not the guy to sit there and tell someone to stock up on liquid, but there's a company going out of business, and I stocked up. I think you should stock up as well, just in case. I don't think this is coming to the southern states, but I'm just letting you know, just in case." And
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, I mean, if anything happens, I'll probably just go back to dipping." I was like, "Man, that's one thing I don't want to hear."
Yep.
And he
Exactly.
knows I don't want to hear that, but he knows that he doesn't have the connections I have. He hasn't made all the friends because he vapes, but he's not like the guy who is on Instagram looking at all the new products, trying to buy the new things. He's the guy where if he has extra money every now and then, yeah, he'll buy a new mod. But I mean, right now, I think all he has is a Dreamer, a Turk, and an Ardent, and I think he had one other mech mod. That's all he has. He's not big on like having like 1,000 setups like me and y'all.
Yeah.
He wants the setups that work for him. He's like, "Yeah, this works. I'm fine." Every now and then he calls me, "Hey man, have you made some coils lately?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, can you bring some over and install them for me, or can you show me what you got?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." That's what I went over there to do yesterday. And it's just sad seeing not really laying down and saying, "Oh well, screw it," but more like it's going to be too hard for someone to get. He's like, "I don't want to go through the trouble of trying to get it whenever I can go to the store right next down the road and get some dip."
Right.
It sucks because I mean, it's one of my best friends. He actually got me back on vaping. I've got him back on vaping a whole bunch of times, and it just really sucks to see this happen to people, especially in states where it's not even happening yet. People are already seeing we're already seeing the effects of it. Like my local shop, everyone at my local shop, the continuous customers, they're all scared. And I've talked to the shop. I go there at least once, twice a week and talk to them. I think I only went once this week, but he's like, "Yeah, everyone who comes in, they're scared. They're worried. They don't know what to do." I said, "Well, shit. I'll write down all the numbers on a piece of paper. You make copies and hand it out to everyone. Do that." He said, "I'll do that." He's like, "But they're all scared. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say." I was like, "Dude, one of the things I've been saying on the calls is, okay, well, every new diet, every new food, every new whatever comes out, do we ban it for 100 years and then see how it went? And then we say, okay, yeah, now we'll release it." No, you find something that's revolutionary and something that's new, you release it right then and there and you get a patent on it. That's what everyone does. In vaping, you make something new, you don't sit on it for a long time and say, okay, well, let me see if this will do good eventually. No, you release it. And that's what America's about. It's not about sitting there and holding everything back for years and years and years and then saying, okay, maybe now I should try. No, we're not going to sit there and test something for 1,000 years. They didn't do that with cigarettes. They didn't do that with alcohol. They might have went through prohibition and stuff, but they didn't sit there and say, okay, well, we're going to ban something brand new for 100 years so we can test it, see the long-term effects. No, no one's going to do that.
No.
prohibition worked really well for alcohol.
Yeah, it did.
And marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Super good.
But
Really well.
what's funny is marijuana was actually legal during alcohol prohibition. It wasn't until prohibition ended, then I think it was 37 or 38 they banned marijuana. 1937 or 1938. So during prohibition you couldn't have alcohol, but you could get high as hell if you wanted to.
Hell yeah. So I got a question for y'all. I'm pretty sure y'all heard about Massachusetts. What are y'all's thoughts on this? I want Shane to go first. Ryan, you're gonna go after him. I want to hear what y'all's opinions are on what happened in Mass.
Well, you know me. I'm not a fan of backdoor deals. I can do buddy deals. I know you. We can work together. We can do this. But anything that comes down to a government official making a decision, I said this. It was either last week or on Weekday Wisdom. One of them, they're turning around and saying, "I know what's better for you than you do." Everybody's different. You got to think about that. I can tolerate more nicotine than say somebody else can. And some people aren't able to tolerate a high nicotine. So doing a backdoor deal where you just come in and do a secret vote and just come out the next day and say, "Hey, I've signed this executive order and everything's banned," I think it's sorry. I think you are, as a governor, you have to take into account everything that goes on in your state. So you have the responsibility of every constituent in your state. And in that time, you have to look at their health, you have to look at their well-being, but you also have to take into consideration where their income's coming from. If you have, just say there was 500 stores in the state of Massachusetts, you have at least, I would say, 1,000 people now that don't have a job. That's 1,000 people that aren't going to spend money in your economy, that aren't going to put money back into your coffers for next year, and you've lost at least 1,000 votes. So think about when you're going to run the next time. You're down at a minimum 1,000 votes, because I would say just the people that work there and the owners aren't going to vote for you, guaranteed. The friends of the people that lost their job, the vapors that don't have a way to get their stuff anymore without driving out of state. And so you think that the people that have to drive out of state now to get anything to have to do with vaping, they may move. So there, now you've lost.
And a risk of jail time.
Yeah. They're going, you've got people that live on your borders that are probably going to leave. They'll sell their house. I would move if they banned it here. I would move in a heartbeat. And my family and everything's here. But hey, that's important, and I understand that. But I have to do what's best for me based on what everything's going on. Mm-hmm. But what he has to realize is he has just sealed his fate as a governor, because based on, Danielle Jones did some investigation into how many vapors there really are. It's been said we're 13 million strong, but by her calculations, in 2017 there was over 14 million, and it's grown since then. So we're probably, we're probably close, 17 to 20 million vapors right now. So 13 million, we can take that as a guarantee that we are at 13 million. But just think about how many, because Massachusetts is pretty populous. There's a lot of people in that area. It's a small state, but it's very populated. So think about how many people there and their families and their, they talked about saving children. We have to look out for our children. But what about that children's parent? That's a former smoker that is now vaping, that now has no way to keep their life going, without having nicotine. Nicotine is an addiction, and I understand all that, and it changes your brain chemistry and all to make you want it permanently. and it is hard to quit. I'll be the first one to tell you. But I think, let me get back on track. Sorry. The the backdoor deal is one of the most sorry things that anybody can ever do, especially if you're an elected official. You don't
Oh
ever do any kind of backdoor deal that affects your constituents in a negative way without some notification of some prior notification of, hey, this is in the works. And that's really how I believe on this.
And zero comment period.
Yes, exactly.
yeah, yeah. So Ryan, what was your thoughts on it?
I heard a lot from Nick Bissett, and basically he lives on the border,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that the day that went into effect, they had less than 24 hours to basically liquidate all their products, and they stayed open until midnight that night.
Mm-hmm.
And he said every day since then, they have basically been getting calls nonstop from people saying, well, what's going to happen? Should I stock up? Is this going to kill me? Isn't this worse for you than cigarettes? Like, why didn't you tell me this was so bad for me? And he's like inundated with calls and really doesn't know how to combat it because he, like I said, you sound like someone with a tinfoil hat on eventually. Just
Mm-hmm.
the government's lying to you, the news media is lying to you. There's no two ways about it. You sound like you're making it up or you're a conspiracy theorist. And in my opinion, that's what they want, because this enormous black market they're going to create is going to get more people sick, which is what they want. So they can
Mm-hmm.
say, see, I told you vaping was bad for you, and the government has been acting in your best interest, banning it state to state, even though other countries, yes, they're installing vape shops in hospitals and encouraging people to switch to vaping because it's 95% safer. But yes, see, like you guys are all getting sick because you're making juice in your bathtubs and it's not good for you, like we said.
Yeah.
And I really don't see how people can trust the government and elected officials after something like this. But the fact of the matter is, there's so many people who don't vape or who aren't affected by this that are just taking what they're hearing as truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're not going to go out and research this stuff to find out if it's true. They hear it on the news. They say, wow, yeah, vaping is bad. That's what I thought. They're not going to go find some peer-reviewed articles or pour over the internet for even 5 to 10 minutes and find actual scientific data. They're just going to go, well, yeah, vaping's probably bad. It seems like it's bad. People blow, there are big clouds and there's nicotine in the flavors and the kids love it, so it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to, fight the government on something like this because there's so many people that, well, what are you going to do? Literally, what are you going to do? Like, people just came out. There was a whistleblower on Trump's cabinet or something where they leaked a phone call and he was talking like a mob boss, telling people to do what he tells them to. Don't call back until it's done. Make sure you contact Ukraine and other foreign countries because I need to win this election in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to actually happen to Trump? Nothing. Nothing's going to actually happen to him. They're not going to. People are trying to impeach him. You think that's going to actually happen? And on a local government level, it's not going to. The people don't care enough. And yes, there's 13 to 20 million vapors. How many people are actually calling the White House on a day-to-day basis? I don't even call every day. I try to, but sometimes I forget or I fall asleep or whatever happens. But it's really tough to motivate people to do something like this because it feels so futile. Like in the New York hearing when I was there, everyone was just so like dejected and, well, yeah, we're here and we're making, a presence, but it all comes down to the media and the way they display it. They could show all these people and be like, look at all these conspiracy theorists who believe that vaping is actually better for you than smoking. And kids are dying. There's hundreds and hundreds of cases. So why are they lying to us? Why are they trying to get this, decision stayed when clearly it's bad for people? And then people watching the news will be like, oh, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, they look like crazy people. Well, I'm sorry, but what are we supposed to do?
Yep.
Go out and protest, go out and call officials, make sure you tell every person that has been affected by this, listen, you'll be fine. This really isn't as bad as they're making it out to be, and the truth will surface. Look at other countries, look at what they're doing over there. But at the end of the day, the American government doesn't really give a shit about anything else. They really don't care about studies done in other countries. Like, I need a hat that just says "Make America England Again," because at least they have their heads on straight. Isn't this exactly why we seceded from England in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like tyrannical leadership and things like that. I don't know, but I wish there was a single magical answer to how to combat this, but it's going to take a whole lot of persistence. It really is. And even a few of my a bunch of my friends who they got me to start vaping, and we all used to build coils and be super excited. We all got the Pi Squared $135 RDA, and we were all excited and sending each other pictures of builds we did and stuff. And eventually, they still vape. They don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but either they use pod systems, or my one friend would be like, hey, I need a set of aliens for my AV mod. They've been in here for 3 months and they're still fine, but I could use a new set of coils. My one friend still uses a Cleto. My one buddy is pod systems, pod systems, pod systems, but none of them really care enough to go out of their way to do much about it. And that's not upset with them about it. It's just they have their lives to deal with, and this doesn't take precedence over their jobs or their livelihoods, and maintaining relationships. When one friend's planning a wedding, I don't expect him to stop what he's doing and be like, we need to push the wedding back because I need some time to do some advocacy stuff. It's not going to happen. So people need to just take your spare time. I forget where I said it. Every time you go to the bathroom and taking a nice poop, call one of your elected officials. 5-10 minutes, call someone, do something about it, educate somebody, or just go support a shop, because I know a lot of places are realistic in the sense that, well, we're probably going to have to go out of business because of this, because we've already lost so much of our revenue due to customers leaving just from bad publicity. Our state hasn't enacted anything yet, but people are scared off. So what do you do about that? Businesses don't, especially small mom and pop shops, what are they going to do? Call each and every one of their customers they've ever had that have signed up for their loyalty program and gave them their information? It's an insane amount of work. And most people will just be like, whatever, I'll just buy it online, or I'll figure it out, or just whatever, cigarettes aren't that bad. And it's sad, because if we really don't go 100% all the time, which is exhausting, there's not much more we can do, especially as voters. Yes, we have a voice and everything, but at the end of the day, when people can just say, well, you know what, vaping's bad, it's not wonderful, and we're going to ban flavors for the kids, and there we go. New York, it is illegal to have flavored e-liquids. You have 2 weeks to figure your shit out.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do about that? How are elected officials like this not held responsible for making decisions based on absolutely nothing, based on false information? How are people like the woman who was saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're winking at somebody? How do we know everything is lies? What are we supposed to do against people like that? Where, I think we need to go against people like this with the same tactics. Like, if they want to do stuff like that and mudslinging tactics and bring busloads of children to hearings about an issue that has nothing to do with anyone under 21.
Right.
Yeah.
They aren't voters.
Yep. They don't vote. So why are
They
they even
don't
there?
vote. They don't vape. They don't smoke. And some of their parents probably don't even smoke or vape. So what are they doing there? What are they even getting? Are they getting paid in some way? Like,
It's
are you kidding me?
Just a tactic.
But
To get out of school for a day, they're like, hell yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And dude, exactly, if I was in their position, I'd be like, hell yeah, get out of school for a day, just go like read some sentence off a piece of paper. I'm down. And I think Grim Green said it best. He was like, I wish one of those kids went up there and said, yeah, well, I think that the government is the devil and fuck the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would have been amazing, but it would have been pushed off, anecdotal, and like all of us would have heard about it, but not a whole lot of other people. And you know, like I said, even people my parents' age who've quit smoking with vaping know that vaping is safer. They know that all of this stuff is just BS and is just based on junk science and inflated statistics. Like, oh, youth vaping is on the rise. Like, yeah, 5% of people under 18 are regular vapors, but 35% of kids are vaping. Like, yeah, how many kids tried cigarettes for the first time this year? How many kids had their first drink this year? How many kids lost their virginity this year? Does it matter? No, it really doesn't. I did a whole bunch of dumb stuff when I was a kid. And I'm sure both of you have, and I'm sure pretty much everyone else our age has as well. Kids are kids. They're going to experiment. They're going to do what they want to. If they have a friend who's older, or an older brother or sister, or there's a sketchy guy outside of a liquor store who wants to buy alcohol for money, guess what? They're going to get it. That's it. Unless you walk with that person back to their car, drive home, and watch them consume the beverage, how do you know where it's going? You don't. And you can't blame an entire industry for gas stations and convenience stores not carding, or people buying it for underage people. It's just not realistic.
Yeah, how many kids have come home drunk and their parents ground them, or take something away or get on to them and things like that. I mean,
government, please.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, government,
please.
Yeah,
parent my children for me.
It just kills me, and I know we've talked about this a lot on this show, but if you have a child, you have to be a parent. How many kids have grown up with a parent that's a smoker, and now they have lung damage? It may be minor. It may be something very minor that, hey, their lungs just don't work great, and it's from secondhand smoke. They've never smoked in their life. Think about those people. They're not going to the government and saying, hey, my kids got damage from secondhand smoke because I'm a smoker. I need you to ban cigarettes.
Nope.
I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's the stupid kids, and I say that because kids are stupid. They're going to make stupid decisions. They don't understand, but they need to understand, and my kids understand this, there is repercussions for being a dumbass.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that with their kids anymore. Oh, I don't spank my kids. We do timeouts. Well, I hate to tell you, timeouts ain't worth a damn because they don't do shit. And who cares if they have to sit down for 5 minutes? They don't care. They're going to get up and do the same damn thing again because there's no freaking repercussions for anything they've done in their past.
My mom used to make me go to bed without dinner.
Yeah.
Now, that's a good repercussion.
Yeah. And,
a little timeout ain't going to do nothing. Going to bed without dinner? Oh, that sucks.
I remember I was a freshman in high school, and I was late to school 3 times. It was my dad's fault that I was late. Not my fault. I didn't drive. My dad's fault I was late 3 times. I got 3 licks from the assistant principal. And this is when paddling was still okay.
Oh, oh yeah.
You know, and my dad even went up there and said, "Hey, this is my fault. I apologize." And they were like, "Well, he's still gonna get 3 licks." It is what it is. It doesn't matter. I was late. I have to suffer the repercussions, and that's we got these little pansy ass millennials out here that now are having kids, and they're raising their kids to be pussies. I'm sorry to say it. That's what they're gonna be.
Hell yeah.
We were still. I'm 42 years old. I was raised that you work and you get what you get, and that's it. If you want to be dumb, but you're never going to be there. You're never going to be what you want to be. Exactly what Mark just said. Just be a parent. Be in there with your kids. Understand. Let them know, hey, I was your age once. I understand what's going through your mind. My wife and I have told our kids, don't try to get away with anything, because I'll go ahead and tell you, we've done it. We've known each other since 1997, so we're at 22 years now. We know each other. Yeah, thanks. Hey, I'm old. But hey, it's all good. I'm happy where I'm at.
We're old as dirt.
Yeah, I fart dust, man. It's all good.
That's what it all does come down to. Like you said, being a parent.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
And then the parents out there who are buying the stuff for their kids, that's just,
oh my God.
Yeah.
That's just the worst. I hate seeing that.
Have either of you ever worked at a shop and had a person come in with their child who's underage, have them pick stuff out, then say, all right, I'm paying for it, and then go, well, I can't sell it to you if it's for them. Oh no, it's for me. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because they just told me exactly what they want. You have no clue what they're talking about. Just handed the credit card over. Well, what does it matter? I'm buying it. Well, I can't sell it to you if you're going to give it to a minor, because that is illegal, and I'm sorry, but you need to leave. And they get so mad at you. Like, are you freaking kidding? Buy it online then. But don't come in here and threaten my job, where I will get fined, the store will get fined, and then get upset because I'm following the rules. Sorry, get out.
Yeah. I've actually, I never worked in a shop. I've been in one where someone did that, and then I've seen a kid actually come in with the dad's credit card, and I don't think the kid wanted anything. He was actually picking it up for his parent, because the guy called the shop and said, hey, I want this and this. Someone's going to come pick it up for me. They said, okay, we'll have it made up for you. We're about to close, so we'll make sure we have it made. And the child came in. I think he was like maybe 15, 16. He must have been 16 or 17, because he was old enough to drive. He came in and said, yeah, I'm buying this for my dad. And the guy looked at him and said, I thought his wife was coming in, or him. He said, no, he sent me because my mom's not home. He said, well, you're going to have to call your dad and tell him I can't sell this to you. And the kid was like, well, why not? It's for my dad. He said, well, because you are not old enough to purchase this right now. I mean, it's just crazy how they think that nothing, I won't say nothing will happen. If you walk out of here and get pulled over and they find this on you, and they're going to say, well, where'd you get it? Oh, wait, my name's on the label. Oh, my initials are on the label for saying I made this for you. Oh, crap. Yeah. They're going to be the ones that get in trouble for it, not you. So,
yep.
So Ryan, go ahead, Shane.
No, I was going to say, I believe it should be that way. If you find something on an underage kid, there should be a fine for that kid. Okay, then they need to find out where they got it from, and go to that store and find the store. I think shut them down for a week. Give them a 5-figure fine to start out. $300, $800. That's not going to deter anybody. They make that in a day, especially if you're in a good place with a lot of traffic. You're going to clear that easily. But 5-figure fine, that will put a hurting on most vape shops, and that will teach them the lesson. And one thing Mark said in chat, and it makes a very good point. You don't get a participation trophy. We're talking about these pansy ass little kids that they got out there now.
Yeah. Here's your
when
8th place trophy.
when we played
You
t-ball,
used to not even get a ribbon.
when we played
I
t-ball, you kept
remember I remember
score.
getting trophies.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, I remember getting trophies in like middle school for t-ball and being like, why did we get a trophy? We didn't win. My
Yeah,
dad's like, yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. Everybody gets a trophy. And even at that age, when I'm like 14, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want a trophy. We didn't win.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, like, oh my God. God forbid a kid feels bad about losing for not trying hard
yeah,
enough.
exactly.
Oh
Get better.
no. Better go home, wrap yourself in a snuggie, and cry and watch Will and Grace.
Exactly. Yeah, we kept
So
score
Ryan,
at
before
t-ball.
we wrap, yeah, oh yeah, that's the same with us. But my daughter played, and they're like, I was like, oh, what's the score? Who won? And then like they would get, I mean, I don't want to tell my daughter she got beat. She's only 5, but I mean, when she gets like 7, I'm like, yeah, you got y'all's ass kicked. But
So
it would be like they would be like 20 to like 4 or 25 to 4, and then they wouldn't even call the game. They just let them keep playing. I'm like, then the coach after the game, well, we didn't do that great, but we still won. I'm like, what? Y'all got y'all's asses kicked.
Yeah.
you didn't call it close, maybe make them feel a little better,
But so Ryan, we know you make coils. You make some pretty badass coils, but there's something special you make, and yeah, there it is.
Some giant ass coils.
Tell us how. Tell us how you became interested in making the behemoth coil.
So I used to have coils in like 6 or 7 local shops, and I think it started with it wasn't a coat hanger. I think it was like a for sale sign, and like the ones you stomp in the ground and it has that little cross piece.
Yeah.
I think it was like 1/8 inch diameter wire. I don't know whatever gauge that is. I have a chart somewhere. I lost it, but I took that and was like, what if I just made a giant alien out of this? Like, it would be hilarious. And so I did, and then I forget how I made like 2 or 3 more of them, and basically brought them to shops that I had coils in, and just put cotton in them and made a display. Because like, as much as people are going to be like, oh yeah, like I want to see like what's going on in there, what are you going to do? Hand them a magnifying glass, be like, oh, take a picture and then zoom in? Like, no, it's much easier. Just be like, well, here's what it is blown up, and you can hold it in your hand, and this is why these are $15 and the machine made ones are 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are they that much better? Yeah, no, they're really that much better.
They are.
Or well, like these last a couple weeks, they're pretty good. Like a couple weeks, my buddy's had a set of my coils in his RDA for 5 months. Every day he uses it. 5 months, and they're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, does this math not work to you? So I said, all right, fine. I'll just make giant ass displays, and it like definitely did help. But then with the advent of like, I don't know if you guys have good guys around you, but like Medusa coils and Kidney Puncher even started sending. Basically, they would like do, I don't know, like not a commission, like consignment. So they would send wire to builders. I knew a couple people who did it, and say like, well, here's the amount of coils we need. Here's the amount of material you have. And here's the amount of time that we need them back in, blah, blah, blah. And then you get paid X amount of dollars for it. So they were good handmade coils. They were still so much cheaper than like, and at the time I was selling coils for $5 wholesale and $10 retail, which was like bananas. I was barely making any money. I was just happy to have my coils in places, you know what I mean? And the more I did it, the more people were like, oh, that's cool. I'll grab like 10 sets. I'm like, fuck yeah. So I don't know. It just became like a thing. And then recently I just started making more complicated one, because I was like, I mean, what if I make a giant frame staple? Like, why not? I just had to find somewhere to get ribbon wire from. And I'm not saying I'm the first person to do this, because I know I'm not. There's a guy in Germany who does it. Who has literally like a 5-foot tall tube mod. I don't know what kind of batteries he has going on in there, but it even has a deck that he can mount a coil this big in, and he makes them all out of stainless steel 316, which is awesome.
Holy shit!
But I don't know what the hell. Ken Hill, Twisted Messes, actually told me about it. He showed me his Instagram and shit when I was at MVE, and I was like, "That's crazy." And he's like, "Yeah, man." And like you can hit it, and it literally has like an 810 drip tip on the top of this like RDA this big, and people are like blowing it out of this thing that's like friggin' almost a 10-inch, 12-inch diameter RDA. But I don't know, it's just one of those things, I was like, well, this isn't that hard. I could figure it out. I worked in machine shops and stuff. I literally make them the same way that I make regular coils, just there's a lot more of there's a lot more clamps involved. I've got I like things that are way bigger than they should be, and things that are way smaller than they should be. Like teeny tiny little anvil. I think it's hysterical.
That's awesome.
And enormous coils that are literally 10 times the size. So I did the math and figured it out. And usually I make like an 8-ply frame staple. I use 28 gauge frames, 0.3 or 0.4 millimeter ribbon, and 40 gauge on the outside. I use Kanthal ribbon just because otherwise it makes it way too low, but 6 wraps. So I said, well, let's get 3 millimeter ribbon. Let's go 10 times, and then just figured out the gauge as it corresponded. So it's 9 gauge on the frames, 8-ply, 3 millimeters, and 18 gauge on the outside, which works out to almost exactly 10 times the size.
Jeez.
And it's hysterical. And I wrapped it around a 21-700. And that's like how I decided to make the sizes. I said, well, I made one for thesis that I promised him, sorry everyone, is the largest one I'll ever make. And I don't even remember what I wrapped it around. I have here, let me grab it. I have like a test piece that I made before I realized how I need to multiply and make the size longer and shit. But this is 3 pieces of 6 gauge and 16 gauge, and it's quite a bit bigger than this one.
Wow.
Damn.
So this is here is a 30 millimeter tube mod.
Dang.
It's disgusting. I can't remember what I wrapped it around now. I gotta find it. It was like a pipe.
Damn.
But he basically said, hey, you know that one you made for Grim Green? I want one that I can put his coil through. And I'm like, all right, chill. Calm down. But
That's
if you never
it's just thesis
spoken to or hung out with thesis, he's difficult to say no to.
Yeah.
So, and he wanted a necklace to bring it to ECC. And he didn't bring it to ECC because he said he didn't think he'd be able to get through airport security with it. Which I understand. So, I made a necklace for it, and this is only 3 wraps, and that one was 5, and it's so heavy. I had it on my neck, like the picture that you used for the for the cover for this, right? Shit, literally, I had a mark on my neck from hanging it around my neck just to take pictures of it for maybe 15 minutes. It was so uncomfortably heavy.
Damn. Yeah, those behemoth coils are badass, and I watch a lot of your lives on Instagram whenever you're making them. Like, this motherfucker's hands must hurt like hell.
Oh my god! I'll try and find the picture and send it to you of the blister I had on my finger one time, because so I had to get. Nick Bissett was asking me, he's like, what do you use to cut those things? The Jaws of Life? I'm like, no, man. I got these little, miniature bolt cutters. It works. You still have to, get a couple good indentations, and then you can snap through it.
Wow.
But what did I use that one time? Oh, I think it was these. So I think I used I used these little like vice grips, and I forget what I was pinching, but I was pinching some parts together, like something on the end here, like all this weird shit to hold it together, and it slipped, and I pinched my finger like that, and I was holding it as hard as I could with as much force as I could possibly put into it, and it slipped off, and I like pinched my finger like that, and immediately looked down and went, "Yeah, it's gonna be a blood blister." Oh my god! And it probably took 2 weeks to go away, and it was black by the end of the time. It was gone. It was hysterical. I mean, my girlfriend literally wouldn't let me touch her with my left hand, but it was so funny to me just because I'd never seen a blood blister in person that big before. And it was like, of course, it's on my pointer finger, of course.
Yeah.
And it was like, I had no feeling there. It was, if you've ever accidentally got, not even hot glue, but like some like epoxy on your finger, and you have that spot that you just have no feeling anymore.
Yeah.
It was like that, but it was weird and black, and then eventually like a hole popped through, and then all the blood underneath like was dried up and like fell out. It was disgusting. But yeah, definitely my hands are, I've got a bunch of little cuts and scars and stuff that just, it is what it is. They're not going anywhere for sure. They're there for life and stuff.
Yeah,
I've
I
got
saw the
couple good
ones that you
on my knuckles.
Yeah, I've seen the ones that you sent the ladies on. That's what she said, and those are awesome.
Oh yeah.
Wait, next week, Jess Marie's getting hers, and Ruby Roo finally is getting hers. And hers, I made like a staggered fused Clapton, which I hate with a passion. They're the worst. I can't do it. I refuse to do two spools at the same time. And even when I do that, it never works out right. I always end up like, it gets all weird and out of whack. But I made hers with copper for the interior, 10 gauge copper, and then the initial like staggered Clapton was 18 gauge, like aluminum, kind of like what's on here. And then I used this gold wire, this craft wire I got from Michaels. It's actually this stuff here, and that's 16 gauge. So I spaced it with the 16 gauge, and then it's 3 different colors. It just looks really, really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't ever want to make one again. But I know the second she gets it, people are going to be like, "Bro, can you make me one?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I guess." Yeah.
So how long does it take you to make one of those coils?
It depends, because usually I'll end up starting it and then finishing it like another day, but between like 4 and 6 hours, because I get really like this. I snipped at the ends, but then I have this little here. You know what? I'll show you a little bit about my sneaker process and stuff. You know what I mean? Just because you guys are so cool and whatnot. Okay, so you see, we're here now. Okay, hold on. I forgot I could just do that. This is a 3-inch wheel bench grinder. Most are standard or 6-inch or 8-inch, and I got this at Harbor Freight, and I'm not ashamed of it because I looked up. Oh, I broke that? I broke the guard off of it. I heard a sound before when I backed up last night, and I forgot. But yeah, there goes the guard. So I wasn't really sure if it would work, but I basically snipped the ends, and then to get that kind of like clipped look at the end of it,
oh,
I used that.
Nice.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I used that, and that's what makes the leads look like they're actually clipped. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It's kind of tough to see.
Yeah, it's got that little
Finishing
little pinch.
touches.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that little
the pinch look where it's almost beveled on both sides.
Yeah, and but then like I try to round them down a little bit so they're not like actually sharp.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was bummed that Thesis didn't bring it with him to UCC. But that's, I mean, come on, dude, that's a weapon. This is
Yeah.
like Wolverine hands right here. It's just that's asking for trouble. How are you gonna explain that to someone at the TSA? Like, oh no, it's just like a coil, man. They're like, well, that looks like you're gonna hurt someone, so we're gonna go ahead and take it from you right now.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, those are some badass. Those are badass.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. Well, I haven't sold a bunch in a while. Finally, I got Homeboy OC, Dwayne Roeder. I got his phone number finally. So, I'm gonna hit him up Monday about some 20 gauge anarchist, and what I'm anticipating is a spool like this, not like that size. So a spool like that of anarchist wire. And if he said he's going to look and see if he has 18 gauge. And I'm like, yes, please. Because I've been using aluminum and galvanized steel, stuff like that. And the steel is just really, really like stiff and really hard to work with. And that's like, I ended up having to wear gloves to do it because, like, if you've ever made aliens, it's a feel thing. Like, you have to have it going through your fingers. But this ended up like I couldn't even use this. I tried to make a 4-core alien, and I just took it apart because I just couldn't do it. Like, it was either gonna make it just completely pull together and triangle it with 4 pieces, or I couldn't stretch it enough. I broke my swivels twice and then just gave up. I'm like, you know what? Screw this.
Yeah, I bet you stretching an alien of that size was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I wrapped it around a railing in my garage and walked about 100 feet into my yard to stretch it.
Damn. That's crazy.
And then I couldn't do it inside because what I usually do, I try to do like the no stretch technique for aliens lately, which has been working, but it's difficult.
It is.
But usually I stretch it and then I hang it so it doesn't touch the ground and get stuck in the carpet. So to do that, I set it up outside one night and did like a live video and just let it go through the grass, and it was fine. But it wasn't getting caught on anything. It was just an issue in every other way.
Damn. Yeah. Those are some crazy ass coils and badass. I'm gonna have to buy one of those. Those things are cool as shit.
Well, let me know soon, man, because once Dwayne hits me up, I'm gonna like put out a public service announcement and be like, I have anarchist wire and I'm gonna be able to make them, because I do have like a bunch. Like that giant spool I have is 26 gauge. I got that from what the heck is that cat's name? You know that guy that vape Austin something, like the trick guy, right?
I think so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a video of him like teaching Drake how to do vape tricks. He owns a shop in New Brunswick, which is 20 minutes from my house. So I sold him coils one time, but they didn't like really want to carry them because they already had like, so I forget what else they had, but regardless, he was like, yo, I have all this wire and I don't build coils anymore because people just send me them. And I'm like, all right, whatever, cool, man. What are you trying to get rid of? And he literally pulled out a box and was like, well, this is like all anarchist wire. This giant spool is 26 gauge anarchist. This is all twisted messes. And I'm like,
damn.
How much do you want for it? And he's like, $100. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, I filled spools like this up like 10 times. This is not even made a dent. I think that's a 5-pound spool. Jeez. It's disgusting.
That's fucking crazy.
It's a giant spool.
But yeah, that's that's what I've been making coils with for the longest time. That 26 gauge and 36 gauge kidney puncher. Just that's what I like. But these are 28 gauge, 36 gauge, 4 cores, and I've had these in my recoil since NVE Connecticut.
Damn.
That was in March, and they're still going strong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is about them. They just last. But also, the recoil kicks ass. I never had an original recipe recoil. I really want one of those, but
Yeah, they're hard to find for sure. For sure.
what do you guys? What are your? So, I mean, hey, perfect time for the topic. What are your like aliens game setup, FDA game setup?
I already make coils somewhat. I haven't made any in probably like 2-3 months, but I used to make them a lot for like for like 2 months. I was making them like crazy, and I started getting into aliens, and I was like, I stopped making them after I went on vacation. And I need to start doing it again, but I don't know. Like,
what's your like
in-game setup?
If you were stranded on a desert island and had one device to use and like unlimited coils or coil heads or what have you, what would it be?
Shane, do you know yours?
Yep. The Overlord with the drop dead.
Nice. I would probably the NATO from Vapor's Cloud and Asylum mods with the little ball bearing button with a M-Turk on top. That'd be mine. Now liquid, that's a whole nother game.
I'm not even getting into liquid. No, let's not even.
Yeah.
Unflavored maybe cardboard flavored.
Sand flavored.
Yeah, Shane, he would probably his in-game liquid would be transmission or Shamrock.
I don't know, man. The Manga Bees has kind of taken over
the Sad Boys one.
Yeah, the Shamrock cookie. I tried that. I have at least 2 bottles with me all the time.
Dude, it's really good. Does it kill your coils though?
Not really.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, mine didn't really kill it too much.
No, I haven't. Let me see if I can get this up here.
Their liquid's not too bad. It's pretty clean.
Yeah, I rewicked that. I think Monday or Tuesday, and you can see.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and those coils have been in there since. I don't know, when did I get this? 3 months ago?
Yeah, about.
Yeah.
The Overlord's badass. Yeah, I really want one of those unicorn mods. The Vert, that looks sick.
Yeah.
I have one. They're nice. They're real nice. They're comfy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, dude, the Vindicator, I'm a creature of habit. I'm kind of upset that Kennedy's making a 28 millimeter RDA and 28 millimeter Vindicator.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, all right, so you want to make those just so people with purge mods can use them? Like, is that it? I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I don't think I'd really want one of those. But I mean, it looks cool. It looks normal, but I don't think I really want one.
Exactly.
I think the Tenacious Unicorn is better than the Vert though, because it has solid silver contacts.
Yeah, it's got the solid silver contacts, and it comes with the silver plated or the silver pin for the Ardent, which is really cool.
Yeah, dude, I need to get one of those Notions. I still have this. When Aria was still a company, still have this the Oro Stealth. It's adorable, and then my favorite thing about it is you literally can't even see the seam until you unscrew it at all.
Oh, wow.
But it's 22 millimeters and it's recessed, so like there's not a whole lot of stuff I can put on it.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Bowden, and I was like, do you like it? And he's like, yeah, man. Like, it's kind of beefy for an 18350, which is nice because, like, you know, you feel it in your hand and shit. I'm like, I kind of want it as small as possible, but there's another mod somebody was showing me. Thomas Ants in My Eyes Coburn. I always forget. I think his name was, I can't remember his name, but he's a dude from the UK, and he got this 18350 mod that's like the shortest 18350 mod ever made with some side fire button, and they're expensive. They're so nice looking. Oh my
Have you
God.
seen the new Hyperions? I think it's just called the Hype. They're like,
Yes.
they're itty bitty. They're like that.
I need one. I need so many things.
Yeah, I want to get the 21700 Hyperion. I don't know about that 18650 one. It's too small for me, but it looks pretty cool. It's miniature.
Yeah, and then if you have a Dreamer, you could actually take the button off the Notion and use it on the Dreamer, and it's constant contact.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's the reason my Dreamer's so messed up.
Is he paying you to say this? I see you got a shirt on too.
Yeah, I'm supporting.
What is Stan doing for you?
No,
All right.
I'm vaping 3 of his mods right now.
Yeah, I got a bunch. I got 2 of them with me, or 3 of them. Yeah, 3. Damn. Fucking
One of these days, Steve Kennedy replies to my DMs. I'll be sponsored by Kennedy for the amount of things I have.
There you go.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I'm just a Kennedy guy forever. I just love. I haven't really owned anything from Stan at all. I tried the Keen at NVE because he had them there. Like he released them at NVE in March, and I was like, "Damn, dude, this is fucking awesome." But I just bought a Vindicator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the Vindicator more, and like they came out with the constant contact, and now they're not even doing the silver plating because it's so thin. It like doesn't make a huge difference. And dude, the Kennedy mods that I've had with like the original Roundhouse is probably one of my favorite. It's my favorite 24 millimeter tube mod. I'll put it that way because I have a lot of like 18650 tube mods or a bunch of different like kinds and styles that I really like. You know what I mean? And the whatchamacallit, this guy, the Calmod Sidekick. I put little O-rings between all pieces just because when I polished it, it got stuck together and I got scared. But I do still have another one that's brand new in the package, just never been opened. And I love it. And it has one of those like Manhattan style switches, and they're like 12 pieces or 13 pieces with that little like pin. But it's got 2 springs in it. It's such a smooth thing, and it's got that like floating pin. It's not hybrid, but it still hits so hard. And the last time I was using it, I put like the OG Twisted Messes on it, and I was just in heaven. Honestly, I was like, why did I stop using this RDA? This is the second. The Twisted Messes, the OG was the first authentic ever RDA that I bought, and it still kind of holds the test of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's like my my NATO. I think this is made in 2017.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I know that's not too old, but I mean it's kind of old. And I actually found someone selling a black one. I was like, dude, I want that, and I freaking love them. And I mean, I know they're like $200 when they first came out, but shit, you can find them brand new for $35 on their website now. And
yeah,
I love them. That's probably one of my favorite mods right now.
I'm just like collecting. I mean, like it's kind of funny because I started collecting old stuff recently, and now that all of these bans and shit are going into effect, I'm kind of happy that I did. But it's mostly like devices, like an old Vapor Shark DNA 40. I'm trying to get. There's this one place that I know that has 2 or 3 original Dominus tube mods, the side fire mods. I always wanted one of those, and the guy still wants like $200 for it. But honestly, where are you gonna find one?
Yeah.
Where are you gonna find one brand new in the plastic? You know what I mean? But the thing is, with me, I'll use it. I won't like just put it on a shelf and leave it somewhere, with the exception of like the slug that I sent Nick that he didn't send me back the keychain or the little leather thing with. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. I've got mine. It's disgustingly patinaed with a Mutation V3 XL, and I've got the one that I sent to Grim Green that he sent me back, and it's a little dirty. It's okay, but this thing is basically brand new. He just played with it for a little while and then lost a bunch of parts. But hey, it is what it is.
That sounds like them.
It's Nick. Oh, but okay, here I found it. Here's the brand new, never touched, number 128 of 1,000.
Wow.
You might still be able to buy these on eBay. $20.
Damn.
$20. They were $230, I think, originally.
Damn.
But the guy, he wasn't able to sell stuff anymore on eBay because of the new policies and shit, right? So I ended up PayPaling him money or Cash App or something, and he took a while to get back to me, and I was kind of getting a little pissed about it because I was like, I actually ordered one of these from you years ago, and then I dropped it one time when I was a little drunk in Hoboken and ruined it, and now I want another one because they were only $40 at the time.
Yeah.
And now that they're 20, I was like, dude, I need one, and if it is what it is, I'm gonna order a bunch more just for my buddies and shit. And he took 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get to me, and then he sent me 2 of them because he took so long, which was nice. It was just kind of in a flat great box like that with no packing material, just in the box, bouncing around and shit.
Damn.
I mean, I can't be that mad about it. Yeah. It's still a really hard-hitting mod.
Yeah, I like having the old stuff too. I wish I kept all my old stuff. I sold a lot of it off, but I wish I kind of kept it all.
I still need an Sagelli 150 temp control, the one with that little bump where the Addy is.
I actually, you know what? Message me after this. I'll contact the guy who has them. I have a buddy who has 3 still in the box.
No, you don't.
Those were the workhorses of mods. And
that was one of my favorite mods, and I took it apart to make a custom box out of with a box from a dot mod, and it looked terrible, so I took it apart and then got pissed off and got rid of it. I don't know what I did with it, but shit, man, what colors does he have?
I'll have to ask him. I'll definitely let you know.
Because I found one on eBay, but it's white, and it's still almost full price, and I'm like, I don't really need it. I don't need it that much.
Yeah, I told him, he's like, well, just give me $20, $15 for it. I was like, oh shit, all right, whatever you say, man. I'll have to get in contact with him.
I'll message him tonight. I don't know, man. That was one of my first ever. That was the first mod I ever messed with temp control, and it was immediately this is dumb, and then just gave up on that shit.
Yeah, that was the same for me. I was like, yeah, temp control, yeah, sure. And I looked at it, I'm like, this sucks.
This is stupid. My cotton's burning, but it still doesn't say dry hit. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's fully saturated and it says dry hit. I don't know. Okay, this is dumb.
Yeah, that thing. You won't be able to get a dry hit, and then you get a dry hit. You're like, why is this not working?
And you get, that was early, but how many people do you know that are really temp control, always, all the time?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be some sort of weirdo. I don't know.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody that loves temp control. It's just not my.
That's the people who pour the milk first before the cereal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got a buddy who's ass backwards on everything. I like a lot of jelly, a little bit of peanut butter. I like pouring my milk first. His favorite fast food place out of anywhere is Wendy's. I'm like, dude, you're ass backwards on damn near everything.
Wendy's.
Whoa. What do you got against Wendy's?
Wendy's is good, but there's better places out there.
That's never my first choice.
Shit.
Well, okay, you might have different fast food places around you than we do, but Wendy's is compared to McDonald's and Burger King, Wendy's wins. Compared to White Castle, it also wins.
Yeah, true that.
White Castle's great if you want diarrhea, but their burgers do taste good.
And
Yeah, if you do,
if you're drunk, White Castle or Crystal is the only place to
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
go.
Oh yeah.
Unless you can find a Waffle House, and then it's a totally different world.
Oh yeah. Waffle House is
Waffle House is
game
game
on.
changer.
Yes.
All right, so we're running to the end of it. We're pretty much going to end it. Shane, you got anything coming up? Any final words you want to say to everyone?
Well, Weekday Wisdom will be back this Tuesday. Sorry about last week. I hurt my back, and I was kind of at a spot where I really couldn't sit for too long. But it's better, obviously, because I'm here today. Uh, that's all I've got going on my channel right now, simply because everything else that's going on, I feel like that's where our concentration needs to be. So
Oh,
we're
yeah.
yeah, we're still researching, we're still finding, everything that was going on, in the vaping industry with bans, with everybody freaking out for nothing. So Weekday Wisdom, make sure you tune in Tuesday at 8 Central for all y'all East Coast, Mountain, and Pacific folks. You have to figure that out on your own because, yeah, math, no, thank you today. That's Monday through Friday. Today's Saturday. It's no math day. Uh, but I just want to let you guys know, let your voice be heard. Everybody, please get out there and do what you can do. You don't have to do everything, but you have to do something. That's what a lot of people are saying right now. Uh, Posted on Twitter the other day about fight or flight. That's something that I kind of went through this little training about. Active shooter, and I think a lot of companies are doing that now, where you have to go through this active shooter training and what to do, and it's run, hide, or fight, and that kind of made me think of fight or flight, and we need to apply that to our agenda. It's
yeah.
fight or flight for everybody, and I know the vaping community, we stick together and we fight, and that's something that actually spread like wildfire on Twitter, which I was very surprised of. And thank you to everybody out there that is trying to make a difference and is letting your voice be heard. We all have to band together, and there's so much unity right now. Unity is what we've been looking for months. I've been doing this with Jay for I don't know, probably close to 30 episodes now.
Yeah.
And we've always preached about unity and letting your voice be heard, and now it's finally happening. I hate that it came to this before it sank in with a lot of people, but at least now they understand what they have to do. It's not something that we can do for you, and once again, we're not doing this for us. We're doing this for you guys. We come on here for everybody out there that needs to know what's going on, that may not have the ability to get out and look for this stuff, or don't know how to do it. We want to bring that to you, so you will have the most updated information on your plate to use for advocacy and activism. And thank you guys once again for tuning in, and like I always say, let your voice be heard.
Oh yeah. Ryan, you got any last words for everyone out there?
um, Make sure that anybody who comes up to you and tells you, hey, you're going to die because vaping is bad for you, make sure you meet them with a level-headed response.
Mm-hmm.
The more angry you get, the more heated and combative you are, the less they're going to listen and actually comprehend what you have to say. It's tough. It really is. It's difficult for me as well. I mean, I know during that hearing, it was towards the end. I was under the impression I was going to be the last person to speak, so I got a little more heated than I expected to. But at the end of the day, you have to let people know that everything you're hearing is basically false information, and you need to go out, do what you can to help. If you are not registered to vote, register to vote. If you haven't called the White House or any of your elected officials or governors, make sure you do that.
Oh, yeah.
I need to join Twitter. I'll just put it out there. I said I was going to, and I haven't yet. And I hate Twitter because I deleted it years ago. But that's the place to go. That's where you can really get in contact with people and have your voice be heard more.
Mm-hmm.
Posting pictures of hand checks and cloud videos and vape model pictures is not what's going to help this industry. It's really advocating. It's really making sure your voice is heard, making sure you support local shops, making sure that everybody understands the actual truth. Send them links, send them articles showing that, vaping is safer. It doesn't take a lot of common sense, but for some people it is difficult to understand, and people are resistant to change. That's it. New, different. I don't like it. It's weird. I don't like it. And especially governments that are receiving money from tobacco companies don't like it. But the more you follow the money, the more truth you'll find.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I got your Instagram in the description, so everyone make sure you go follow for British Eyes Only on Instagram. He has badass pictures and he does lives, I believe, 3 times a week, something like that, 2 times, just depending on whatever you want.
Yeah, kind of whenever I want. I've been trying to stick to a schedule of Thursdays around like 6 o'clock Eastern. So what, 5 o'clock Central?
Yeah.
Right before Grim Green's vlog, and then after that, I go right over to That's What She Said and hang out with those girls, lady dudes. I've got a wrench on both of them now, so if you come into chat, you're angry and you're mean, I'm gonna.
He's gonna abuse the power. He already said it. He's gonna use his power.
I'm going to abuse my power. Oh my god! But yeah, definitely tune in next week if you want to see some of the little fun boxes that I sent. If you haven't watched this past week's That's What She Said or Grim Green's Thursday live vlog, definitely go in there. I don't have a timestamp of when, but I sent Nick beers back in like July, and he cut one open with a knife because I overwrapped them. I wasn't sure. My friend told me he sends beer all the time, told me how to do it, so I put a can full of pennies in there, and it was weird. But I sent him a knife that is so dull you can't cut a piece of paper with, and Dwayne was his guest, and they laughed real hard, which made me happy because I know it got their minds off of like all the crap that's going on lately, and that's kind of why I've just been sending stuff out to people like, hey, here's a little care package, get your mind off of all the bullshit and take a break from advocacy for a minute and remember why we all do this.
Yep, and that was really cool. And I mean, you definitely got our minds off it by talking about coils and the behemoth coil and just hanging out today. I mean, we went to the advocacy spill and then we got to hang out and just have a little fun.
Yeah, man. I'm real happy that you guys invited me on and I could figure it out. Maybe next time my computer will work and stuff and I have like dual screen going and looking up links and actually seeing what's going on in chat would be cool too. But hey, it is what it is.
Oh yeah. For me, like Shane put in the chat, let your voice be heard .so@gmail.com. Any questions, make sure you please email him, email me, email any of us. We definitely want to get your questions, any links or anything. Just make sure you email them. Pretty much, these guys already summed it up. Get on Twitter if you can. Call your representatives every single day if you have the time. If you don't, call your local ones. If you have just 5-10 minutes, call your local ones, call the White House. Me, I have an hour for lunch and I'm fine with not eating. I'll just eat after, before, or whenever I can. And yeah, my whole hour of lunch is calling 20, 30 different numbers, and it just keeps growing every day. So these people need to start answering their phone a little quicker because I'm starting to run out of time whenever I'm sitting there calling. But I mean, it's good that the phone lines are being put on hold every now and then because it means we are calling. I hope that's all vapors calling. So just make sure you keep calling, make sure your voice is heard. get off your ass and go do something. Advocate for what helps you and what gets you through. If your flavor is cotton candy or cactus jackfruit mandarin, whatever it is, make sure you advocate for it, because if not, they're going to take it away. We give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. So just make sure y'all do go out there, y'all fight for your rights and do your part. But that's it. We'll see y'all next weekend on the Weekend Wisdom. Until then, we'll see you on the Weekday Wisdom over there on